calm before the storm. Things aren't as they were before. You best start bracing.
Really bad Saturday football prediction.
And welcome to our first match preview for the new up-and-coming season. Everton take on Spurs at the Tottenham HOTSPUR Stadium on Sunday. I've got Michael with me, and it's good to be back with these match previews for the league, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it is. It's good to be back. It's good to be getting back into game mode, if you get what I mean. Now, obviously, it's been a short pre-season, so in hindsight, I hate when the season finishes because it's such a long gap. Actually, I've not minded this one, but I appreciate it's a lot for the players, obviously. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a tough game.
It is a tough game. Listen, Everton haven't beat Tottenham away since 2012. Now, what better time to beat them? The whole club's been lifted. The fans have been lifted. It's the first game of a new season. And I fully expect our 3 new players to start the game. I seen the podcast you done last night, and a Tottenham fan on there was basically saying, he's not happy with the transfer window they've had. They're worried that they haven't brought a striker in because, listen, Harry Kane is Harry Kane. He's a fantastic striker, but to me, he's becoming very injury prone. Now, he does get back from injuries very quick. We have seen that. But he seems to take his time to get up to match speed. Now, will he be ready for the season? I'm not too sure. He didn't really pull up any trees in the England games. The Tottenham fans aren't happy with Levy. They're not happy with Mourinho. And listen, that will rub off on the players. And listen, it's still not going to be the same, Michael, because there's no fans in the ground. But I'd like to think teams are going to be able to lift themselves regardless of the stadiums being empty or not, because it's a brand new season. It's the first game of the season. So listen, the players shouldn't need lifting for that. I agree with you. It is going to be a tough game, but I fancy our chances. I'm very confident going into the season. Listen, 10 days ago, Michael, me and you were slagging the club. We were slagging brands, it was a shit show. And all of a sudden, we're going into this season, think we're going to fucking dominate the world. You know what I mean? So, listen, it's a good time to be a Blue. Hopefully there will be a few more coming in. I'm looking forward to the season a lot more than what I was 10 days ago. I'm going to ask you, what's your take? I know it's the first game of the season. You did say at the beginning of the video it's going to be a tough game. Do you think Everton can break this duck now of not winning away at Tottenham since 2012?
I think this is as good a chance as any. I think, look, just going back to Harry Kane, obviously he is their talisman. He is their main man. He's the one that consistently causes Everton problems. He tends to score against us, and so does Son. Everton have to be awake and alert to that. Defensively, we're no different to last season. If anything, because of the loss of Holgate, we're possibly weaker. So, attacking-wise, do I think we'll score? Yeah. Do I think Spurs can score? Yeah. So, it's going to be a difficult game in that aspect. Harry Kane, as you rightly say, he suffers with injuries, but the guy is consistently and constantly burnt out. Do you know, Sava, the Spurs fan you were talking about there, do you know, he told us a stat last night which scared me about Harry Kane, and I actually felt a bit for Harry Kane. Do you know, before December the 10th,
my birthday,
he will have played 26 games this season.
Yeah.
Comparing, if they have the cup one, if they, the England games, it's a lot for any player, and he's not had that chance to recover. Another thing they said on that podcast last night was that, if they didn't have the lockdown period, Spurs were fucked. They had no Son, they had no Kane. You take them two out of that team, and they're average. And that's something. They are average. Now, Everton can go into this game with that massive leap of confidence, that massive, all of a sudden, Everton have gone from being just like me and you, fans on their arse, absolute heads rolling all over Twitter, all over Facebook. We're doing no business. We got no money. Marcel Brands is shit, blah, blah, blah. And look, I criticise Marcel Brands. I sat here and criticised Marcel Brands with you. I sat on the phone. I've done it on video. done it time and time again. And don't get me wrong, I still don't think Brands is brilliant. But what Brands has now got is a player magnet in Carlo Ancelotti, which he's never had before. And that's the difference. Now, Everton go into this game, tough game. Can Everton win? Absolutely. But they have to be physically disciplined defensively. And this is where Alan will massively help. And I'm sure you'll ask me a question about, tactics and transition. So I won't talk about it too much, but he will help.
Two things I want to point out for what you've just said. With Harry Kane there, it was a bad injury that he had. He does recover quickly, but he doesn't seem to get back up to match fitness quickly. The lockdown certainly did help Tottenham. As you quite rightly say, if the lockdown doesn't happen, Harry Kane probably doesn't finish the season because he's burnt out or he picks up another injury. Going on to what you said, attacking wise and the combative style that Everton have now got in the midfield. And then you moved on and you mentioned the defence there, and it's still the same defence. Obviously, we've got Holgate out. But I think what will strengthen our defence is the midfield that we've brought in, because they will come back, So I think you're going to see a different sort of game plan, a gameplay from Everton's defence, because they've got cover in front of them. Yeah. So that will make our defence strong, which I keep saying this, will hopefully make Softar stronger in goal, because he'll have confidence in his back four, because his back four have got confidence from the midfielders that we've brought in. So I think we're going to see a different formation than what we've been used to. I think Ancelotti's now got his players in who can play the formation that he wants to play. Going on to Marcel Brands, what you said there, I think, listen, I've seen some things on Twitter that apparently we got Rodriguez for nothing, the way the deal's being broken. I don't believe that. It looks like we've brought Rodriguez, Allen, and Decore in for something like 65 million quid. Now, if you put that into perspective, we probably brought in Iwobi, Sigurdsson, and Schneiderlin for probably roughly the same, would you say?
100 million.
100 million for them three players I've just said, and yet we've brought Decore, Gomez and Allen in for 65 million. I agree with you. Brands hasn't completely changed my mindset of him overnight. But what I will say is now, I think, because he's got the sort of manager who's working alongside him, he's had to get his shit together. They've worked well together on these three deals. Decore, apparently they wanted 40 million. We ended up paying something like 22 or 25. Yeah. Good business by Brands. He's done well on that deal. Allen was another one. What they were asking for, Brands got them down. And the Rodriguez deal, which I've just said, was it a free? Was it 20 odd million? Listen, we've got James Rodriguez at Everton Football Club for 20 odd million quid. Iwobi costs more. Sigurdsson costs double. So this is where Brands has actually got his shit together in this transfer window, and it's massively changed the outlook from the fans. It's going to rub off on the other players. It has to. If the players who we've got at that club now from last season can't lift their game and raise their game when they've got them three quality players around them, then they don't deserve to have that shirt on.
No, and you're right. And look, another thing, obviously we go into this Spurs game, and as much as it affects Everton fans, as much as it affects the team and the players and the hype around Everton, it affects Spurs. Me and you have both watched the Spurs documentary that they've got on television. We both I semi-understand or think what Mourinho will be saying to his players today. He'll be saying, this Everton team's changing. This isn't the same Everton team that you got a 1-0 win against and just walked over last season. This is the Everton team that are coming out to twat you all over the park. This is the Everton team that have got a nasty bastard in midfield in Allen, a ball-carrying midfielder who can turn a defence into attack within 10 seconds, and James Rodriguez, who can either score from 30 yards or pick out Richarlison or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. All of a sudden, with a different side. And we talk about defensively, and you talk about how it adds. You talk about the then transitions. Now, obviously, we'll do our starting lineups in a minute, I'm sure. But, for me, I'll just do mine. It's Pickford in goal, Luca Dean, Keane, Mina, Kenny. Midfield three of Decore, Allen and James Rodriguez. And I actually go with Richarlison on the left, Dominic Calvert up front and Moise Kean on the right, because what it allows us to do is it allows us to turn into a transition. So when Spurs are attacking, you have Richarlison, which will dip down the left. He always does. He puts his shift in all the time. Moise Kean, who's going to have to learn to do that. So all of a sudden, that's a 4-5-1. But Allen will drop deeper, turning it into a 5-4-1. Or you'll see one of the strikers, maybe Richarlison, drop in and turn it into a 4-4-2. And that's how the transition will work. Against Spurs, Højbjerg's going to have a really, really good game to stop that happening, because in the middle of their park, I'm not concerned by any other players in the middle of their team.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, when you look at the likes of Allen and Doucouré, who'll put a foot in, as you say, we've got Doucouré, and as you said to me quite rightly the other day, Michael, I'd been saying to you for 18 months we needed someone like that. We finally got the player who I wanted to come in to replace Idrissa Gana Gueye. Box to box, he can carry the ball, he can chip in with a goal. I think Tottenham's midfield on Sunday will be absolutely shit scared of Everton across the middle of the park. We keep Harry Kane quiet, we win this game. For me, we win this game, no doubt about it. Going back to the documentary, it was a great insight to see what actually goes on. And Carlo said it yesterday, you know, he'd watched that programme. And the same sort of things happens in most clubs. What I can see why players fall out with Mourinho. Fuck's he gone? I can see why players fall out. I can see why players can fall out with Mourinho very quick, but I can also see why players will fall out. Sorry, with Mourinho fall out with players as well. You know, you had the bit with Danny Rose. So listen, it won't take much to upset the apple cart at Tottenham. Is it heading that way? In my opinion, it is. I think it's a very good time for Everton to play Tottenham on Sunday. I really do. So I'm going to give you my team now. I wrote mine down because I was torn. I've got Pickford in goal, Luca Dean at left back, same as you, Mina, Keane and Kenny. Across I go Doucouré, Allen and Gomez, and I put James just in front of them, and I've gone with Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Different sort of transition than your team, but what that does give us is you've got Allen and Doucouré, who will drop back and help that back four. Even if it's Allen, Doucouré can stay just in front of him waiting for the pass out. Got Gomez who can do the same, and again, what you said about James there, he's quite capable of scoring a worldie. If he's got time, he can make time and space for himself, James. If he can do that, quite capable of scoring from outside the box. But he's the link-up play that Calvert-Lewin has needed. He's that player who can quite possibly knit things together in the final third of the pitch, which we haven't had. You know, me and you've both spoke. Did Dominic Calvert-Lewin have a purple patch over the 6 months when he was scoring a lot of goals? And then he went quiet. He will feed off James. Listen, when you look at that, attacking wise, going forward wise, Gomez, Allen, Doucouré, Rodriguez, Richarlison, that will frighten any Premier League midfield and defence, but we have to utilise it. We've got to get the ball forward fast, and that's the way Ancelotti plays. Michael, you've watched teams who he's managed for Real Madrid, PSG. If they've got that ball carrier like we've got on Doucouré, if the defence can get rid of it to him, move the ball forward, because anyone who's defending against that Everton lineup will shit themselves, because it'll be pace and it'll be power.
Yeah, you're spot on. I'm just attacking the fucking dog. No, you're spot on, because Everton will go into this game knowing where Spurs are weak, because they haven't strengthened in those areas. You know, Spurs will look at Everton and go, well, how the fuck are they going to play? And that is the difference. And you are right. James Rodriguez is the player that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's needed, is the player Richarlison's needed. I said another thing on the podcast last night. I said, I think Richarlison could get 20 Premier League goals next season.
Yeah.
And that's because he will have a player linking up rather than him having to do it himself, because there's no getting around the fact, and I said this when we signed Sigurdsson, he is not a number 10. Sigurdsson is a dead ball expert. He's a player that can pick a pass, but he was never a number 10. He was never creative enough to be a number 10. If this dog drinks my tea, I swear to God, I'll kill you. So for me, Everton go into this game. I would actually go as far as saying favourites. I actually think Everton go into this game with Spurs as favourites for the first time in a long, long time.
I agree. The reason why I don't think we will is because of our record away against Tottenham.
And I get that.
And Everton's away record, yeah, listen, it has improved since Ancelotti's come in, but it's still not great. We have to sort our away form out because, listen, our home form since Ancelotti's come in's been good. Under Duncan, it was good. I'd go as far as saying the past few managers that we've had, 3-4 managers, our home form hasn't been that bad. We have to do better on our travels. Ancelotti knows that. We've got the players now who can set up differently away from home than what we do at home. We've got a manager who knows how to do that. He's got the players now who he can utilise that way. I am not worried about Sunday. As I said before, we keep Harry Kane quiet. We win the game. We win the game. Stop the supply to Harry Kane, which we're very, very capable of with that midfield. And if we do that, I'm going for Everton. 3-1.
Yeah, I think I don't go 3-1, I go 2-1. But I definitely think as long as we have got our shit together defensively, we will win this game. Pickford and the centre-backs concern me. You already know what I think of Mina. You already know what I think of Keane. You already know what I think of Pickford. It does concern me. But Alan helps.
Yeah. They've got the backup in front of them now.
Puts the pressure on earlier up the pitch, Sam's Decore, to get the ball further up the pitch, which stops them getting anywhere near our back ball.
I think what you're going to notice with the players we've brought in, I will finish this video in a minute because it has gone on long for a match preview, but what you're going to notice now is teams are going to find it harder to break Everton down and get in behind them.
Yeah.
Whereas with previous players, it's easy to get past Tom Davies. It's easy to get past Sigurdsson. It was easy to get past Schneider. It was easy to get past Delph. We had no legs, Michael. We had no legs whatsoever. We have legs. We have strength. We have pace. We have power now in that midfield. It's going to be hard for team to break us down and get past that midfield. If they do, yes, the defence does worry me. But I'm more confident now that we're stronger as a unit. I think you say there, Tottenham won't know how to play against us. Listen, we haven't had enough pre-season games. The same for every team that will probably go in our favour because then they can't really go back to the pre-season games. Mourinho will go, well, this is how they set up. This is how they set up. It's brand new for Mourinho. We won't have faced something like this from an Everton football team for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So he will be shitting himself. I think he will get that across to the players. We have to come out the blocks. We've got players who can kick on from the first whistle now, Michael. We've got players who are going to fight for the shirt. They know what it's like to win. Alan Rodriguez especially, they know what it's like to win. Our players who are still there, who probably aren't going to get a look in. I've seen the team sheet go up every week and thought, well, yeah, I'm playing again because I've got no competition.
And the difference is, and I'm dragging on, but it's fine. The facts are, for the first time in a long time, we have 3 players who have joined Everton, who wanted to join Everton.
Yeah.
Decore, I wanted to join last season. Alan, as soon as I heard Ancelotti wanted me, I was only coming out. I turned down Atletico Madrid. James Rodriguez had offers from all over Europe, one being Bayern Munich, I believe. Turned them down to come to Everton, play with Carlo.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Ramsey's job's made easier, and the whole team will be lifted by that. I just think all of a sudden the players who needed that kick up their arse
got it.
Definitely got it. I mean, we saw in the last pre-season game with Sigurdsson, he looked like a different player.
Yeah.
He looked like a different player.
Because they know they've got players coming in to challenge them.
The only one that doesn't right now is Pickford.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see us bringing a keeper in, to be fair. I don't think we're going to bring a keeper in.
No. Yeah.
So we are stuck with Pickford. Listen, Ancelotti will have no qualms. If Pickford starts fucking about again the way he does and being smarmy and smiling and making stupid mistakes, he will bring Losselin. There's no 2 ways about that. He will bring Losselin, and that's it. He won't put up with that. I think Pickford will have been told, look, this season, fresh start, no fannying about, no fucking thinking you're it. You get this right or you're gone in January. Simple as that. We have the manager there now. We have a director of football. who will get their point across. Because listen, I said this to you the other day. I will be finishing the video now. We have to get this right now. There's no two ways about it now. You know, with the manager we've got there, who's on £11 million, with, you know, the players that we've brought in, winning players, winning mentality players. I know it's only 65 million quid roundabouts that we've spent, but when you look at the quality of players we've brought in, we have to get this right. There's no two ways about it now, Michael. We have to go into this season believing. One more thing I will say. How reassuring and uplifting was it yesterday when Ancelotti got asked, where do you want to finish?
Yeah, and this is, to be honest, I'm glad you've left on that point, because this is a point I was going to make. Very quickly, and I hate doing this, but I'm just going to put it in perspective. Jurgen Klopp joined Liverpool. They were 8. He was given time. He built. That's exactly the same stage Carlo Ancelotti's in. Carlo Ancelotti now has built the majority of his team that he's happy with. You might see Everton challenge for Europe this season, 6th. But then next season he'll go, right, we need to just go out and buy a top centre-half. And then he goes and buys 1 top centre-half. You might see it the season after, we need a new goalkeeper. He goes and buys 1 goalkeeper. He's being allowed time to build. Now, don't get me wrong, I hate using Liverpool in that perspective, but you can't argue with that he built that team. If Carlo's given the right time, I think the fact that he come out and said, Everton, my aim is to finish first, European spots, should get every single Everton fan off their chair going, we might not finish first this season, but that's his aim while being at the football club. And for the first time ever, we haven't got a Roberto Martinez, which was refreshing in his own words, and went, I want to finish top 4, and he almost did. You haven't got a Ronald Koeman who goes, I want to finish in Europe. You haven't got a Sam Allardyce that goes, oh, I want to keep us up and finish 8th. You haven't got a Marco Silva that says, I want to aim for Europe. You've got a manager who says, I want to win the league.
Which is good, which is the right mindset, you know. And I said this to you yesterday, and listen, I think we can safely say, you know, let's be honest about this. Everton aren't going to win the league. Let's be honest about it. But Leicester fans thought that, and they won it. But realistically, you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I've had a bit of stick on Twitter saying Everton are going to finish 5th. But you've got to be up. When you've got a manager like that, with that calibre, and he goes, no, I want to finish first, he probably knows in his head, but we're probably not going to win the league. But it's better than hearing managers saying, well, I just want to get 6th and finish in Europe. No, every club, Burnley should, and they're not, but every club, Burnley, Villa, Brighton, Liverpool, man, everyone should be starting the season going, we want to win that league. It's the mentality to have. And we all know 95%, 99, 98% of them teams I've just named then aren't going to win the league. We know that. But be positive. Give the players a lift, give the fans a lift, give the club a lift, and start the season on the front foot with that mentality and just go for it. Win as many games as we can, finish as high as we can. As you said, quite rightly said yesterday to me, next season will be the season, not the season coming, the one after. This is a transitional period now. You're probably not going to see for a while another transfer window where we bring 3, maybe if we get another one, 4 top quality players. Everton probably won't do that anymore, but we build on what we've got. So in January, if we need a centre-half, we'll go out and get a top centre-half if we haven't brought one in this window. Next summer, Pickford, as you say, quite rightly, he might have been like a shit show. We bring a top keeper in. And then, you know, maybe as well, go for that all-out striker if we're struggling up front. It's a process, Michael, and as you quite rightly say, with the shite, you know, it's a process. Gone are the days when Everton are going to spend £500 million on shite. We've spent £65 million on 3 world-class players, you know, who are much better than the £500 million players that we've brought in. So it's a slow process. We have to stick with the team. We have to stick with Ancelotti, stick with the new players who've come in. You know, apart from Decore, it is a new league for Alan and Rodriguez. But in my heart and in my head, they're going to take to it like a duck to water.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'll just leave on this. And it's exactly what we've just said. Why aim for the moon when you can aim for Mars but hit the moon anyway?
Yeah.
Why settle for a target you can hit when you can put an aspirational target up there? And if you hit above your target.
Target.
You're above the moon. You're over the moon. You're over the moon. You're chuffed. So this is the point. Everton, all of a sudden, the mentality is changing. This club, the club we support, the club we've supported and loved our whole life. You know, you've seen success. I haven't. The club I support is a very different club to the club you supported. You knew success. You knew mentality. You knew the players would die on that pitch. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. I can 100% tell you right now, I am incredibly excited for the future. And for people in my generation, that's all we've ever wanted to be.
2 weeks ago, you're not saying that sentence there. 2 weeks ago, you were like, what do I expect? I don't know. Within 2 weeks, your whole mentality as an Everton fan who hasn't seen success now can see, do you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe it's closer than what I think because the mentality of the club's changed. Right. Listen, folks, thanks very much for watching. We are going to leave it there. There is a watch along on Sunday for the game. Is that right, Michael? You are? Yeah, there will be a watch along. And listen, we are going to be doing watch alongs as long as Michael can. I haven't got the equipment. So as long as Michael does, I can. Probably for every game until we are allowed back into the stadium. Don't forget as well, the channel's flying. Get the subs up. Tell everyone who doesn't subscribe to the channel who you know. Subscribe to the channel. Give us some support. Thanks very much for the donations on the last watch along as well. We haven't mentioned that. It was absolutely fantastic that day. Give the notification button a hit and we will be back soon. Again, thanks very much for watching. If we don't speak before, we'll see you on Sunday at 3:40. Cheers, folks.